I have always seen auras, and I think I understand now that what I'm seeing is energy. I visibly see energy as color. I think there's a lot of misconception about auras, and there's lists online about and this color aura means this and this color aura means this, and I don't put much stock into that. There are some consistencies with what I see, and what happens if I see green. Green auras around people tends to be associated with childhood sexual abuse. A pink aura tends to be associated with love and openness and connection. For me, I've only seen a white aura once, and it was like brilliant white light. And there are some of these like correlations. I've seen a gold aura a couple of times that I've taken to interpret as angels, but I don't know that they're necessarily the same for everyone. So when I see auras, the way that it appears, if you look at like a really hot like pavement on a summer day, and you can kind of see the heat waves above the pavement, that's what an aura appears like to me. I have to be in a certain state and get myself to a state where am able to perceive it. Usually if I'm going to do it on purpose, usually they just kind of show up. So the first time that I remember seeing an aura, I was probably about 7. And my family was at a baseball game. And there was a man there who had a kind of like muddy green aura. And at the time, it scared me. And I remember behaving nervously. And my parents asked, of course, what's wrong? And I was just like, I don't know, I'm scared. And they were like, what? Why? I said, because he's green. And my parents just dismissed this as utter nonsense. And this man was sitting in a different section than we were, so I never saw him again, and that was over. But that's the first experience I remember having with auras. The second auric experience I remember having was when I was in my teens. I want to say 15, 16. And my neighbor had just gone on a confirmation retreat. And when she came back from the retreat, her entire head, it was kind of like a halo effect. Her head was glowing gold. And it was just absolutely brilliant gold. It was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. And she was glowing. She was glowing, and it was wonderful to see. And that time I mentioned it to my mom, who again never put a lot of stock into these things. So I immediately dismissed it for the most part and never really spoke about it again, except to my neighbor. And when I told her, she accepted that, and I think her experiences and the way that she felt was aligned with what I saw. But I didn't just, I think when someone looks really happy will say, oh, you're glowing, but like literally I saw the gold around her, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Another experience that I had, so I'm kind of going chronologically here. It was right around that same time, And it was when I was a teenager that the seeing the auras and feeling energy, like empathic energy, kind of really started to amp up for me. Oh, and something else really fun started happening when I was a teenager, that I would get sometimes heart racing so quick. Again, I can identify it now as kind of panic attacks, or I understand it now when I'll get like dizzy, and I know I've experienced enough that I know when I'm getting dizzy or I'm getting that kind of like heart racing sensation, that there is something energetic in my either something about to happen, it's kind of a prophetic thing, or they're like in my surrounding, sometimes within like a mile. So it doesn't even have to be anything that I'm aware of, which is frustrating to get like psychic hits. And that's what it is. It's like a prophetic psychic hit of energy that I'll get dizzy. But I did not know this at the time, but I would be just like walking in the school hallway and all of a sudden pass out. I passed out on the beach once, and it's not like a thing, anything that we needed to see the doctor for. Although, looking back, I am a little perplexed that my mom never did take me to the doctor. I passed out, I don't know, I want to say 5 or 6 times. Maybe I should have gone to the doctor. I don't know. It didn't seem to happen regularly enough that any of the adults in my life seemed particularly worried about it. But I know now that it is associated with energetic signals, like kind of like a thinning of the veil. So I began to notice, though, when I was like 15, that there was this guy that when he was around, I would get these sensations and kind of the lightheaded and my, the heart beating. And I just thought it happened for a couple months, and it was just curious. And then I remember sitting in a government class one day, and I got that rush of feelings, the lightheadedness, the heart racing, the anxiousness, the anxiety. And I was like, that is really weird because he's not here. And I remember sitting at my desk and I looked up, and right when I looked up, I looked out the doorway. And when I looked at the doorway, he was walking by with a hall pass. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then it was like another couple of weeks, and I noticed that I would actually feel that sensation just before seeing him. It was not a good sensation. It was uncomfortable. At the time, because all of these things were starting to happen, rather than take me to the doctor, my parents took me to psychiatrists, which, looking back, that was definitely a mistake. I was having a spiritual experience and an energetic experience. My parents, they were also going through a lot of conflict at the time. And as an empath, I was sensing a lot of that, but they weren't dealing with it openly. So I kind of became like the energetic scapegoat. Oh no, something's wrong with her. We need to take care of her. What's going on with her? Like, you never mind that they're arguing and having all of their troubles, which I won't go into detail about because this is not their story. This is my story. At any rate, one of the psychiatrists that I saw actually went to our church, so he felt comfortable talking about spirituality a little bit. And when I spoke to him about this, and I felt like then he was being a little patronizing, but also moderately sincere. People who haven't experienced these things, even if you kind of have an idea of what they could be like, when you're talking to someone who is experiencing it, it's hard to comprehend what's going on. But he asked me then if I had heard of spiritual warfare, which I had not. And I still haven't looked into much. I don't like the idea of warfare. But maybe it is something I should look into. Anyway, and he recommended, my parents were Catholic, he was Catholic, and he recommended that I carry a rosary in my pocket and pray the rosary when I felt that way and see if that helped. And I don't know if it was the rosary specifically that helped, but over the course of the next couple weeks, I did what he suggested, and it did help me calm down enough that I felt comfortable enough to actually approach this guy. And so he was getting a drink from the vending machine, and I went to him and I said, I don't know, we don't know each other that well, but this is what I experience when I am around you. And the drink dropped in the catch tray, and he just froze, stared at me blankly, and he goes, I feel that way every single day. I've always felt like I have demons around me. First of all, it was incredibly validating that the thing that I was feeling had a reason. Also, it pissed me off. Why would I be feeling someone else's energy? So he and I wound up hanging out a couple times, and he played guitar a little, I played guitar, so ostensibly we were getting together to jam, but we just wound up talking, and he shared what he was feeling, which he had never shared with anyone before. And we prayed together a couple of times, and he wound up feeling better and presumably stayed better. I don't know, but he felt better. I felt better. We were good. We never did hang out again. I never really did get to know him any better. That was an early foray into this kind of psychic, empathic sensations that I get and I pick up on very, very easily. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pause there. I feel really good about just even thinking about my early experiences and kind of putting them all together with this whole I'm middle-aged, but with this perspective that comes with being middle-aged and being able to look back on it without parental judgment or judgment of anybody who seems superior or elder, and just looking at it through my own whatever wisdom I have through that lens, and I'm sharing that publicly, although anonymously, because I wish I'd had access to hearing other people's stories when I was that age. And now that I'm older and get to hear it through YouTube and can look up things, and these things start to make sense when you realize that other people have experienced things as well. So I hope my story helps you. Just putting it out there in the collective, and if it resonates, if it feels good, go ahead and like and subscribe so that I know that it's resonating with you. And if you feel like you need some support on your spiritual journey, don't hesitate to reach out. And namaste and peace and love and all the good stuff. All right, take care.